to Studio 70. I'm here with the Willis Clan. They just played a great performance for our student body. Would you guys mind going through your names again for the camera?
Yeah, well, I guess we'll go in age order.
Yeah, sure. I'm the oldest. I'm Jessica.
I'm Jeremiah.
I'm Jenny.
I'm Jeanette.
I'm Jackson. And I'm Jedi.
When you guys became an official band, was it a family decision? What did the creation of the band look like?
So the first time we ever performed officially as a band, it was for a St. Patrick's Day festival, and someone just knew our family did music, and they said, would you guys come perform? And I remember we came off stage from our very first performance, we looked at each other and we all said, we are never doing that again, just because of all the work that we had to put into it, and then how nervous we got on stage and stuff. But then someone they asked us to play again the same festival next year, and after that, we did that for a couple of years, and then we said, hey, maybe this is something that we want to do. So we did sit down and officially say, okay, this is what we're gonna do. And more kids have come along since then, and they all want to join the band. So now we have 10 people officially in the band.
Now, you said something about nerves. Does that still happen, or is that something you guys don't really deal with anymore?
At this point, most of the time we don't have a problem with nerves. If something goes wrong, either right before or during the concert, say a technical issue or somebody messes up the words like she did this morning, people can get rattled and you can see it in their eyes, and all of a sudden they're not sure of what they're playing, and it can get rough then. But most of the time, no.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's different for different members of the family too. Some people I know I won't point them out, but they get very nervous too. Not me,
Yeah.
someone else.
There's different things that can affect your nerves. One, sometimes the main thing that I see and experience is if the material is new, you can see the brains working a lot more. There's trying to get, oh, I don't want to forget my words, or I don't want to forget my notes, or things like that. Once something becomes,
muscle memory.
You get that material down and you're not worried about the material itself, a lot of times that's much more calming. The other thing is if there's something in the environment, like there's somebody there that you're really nervous to see, or for them to see you, or if you're really, maybe it's the environment, maybe it's a huge stage or something you can't hear very well. But I mean, generally, the more experience you have, you learn something new each time, and so you become more comfortable.
Now, is performing at a school out of the ordinary, or is that something you normally do?
We've performed for schools before, not a ton, but we've done several, and we honestly, all of our performances are different all the time. We do everything from schools, performing arts centers, outdoor festivals, arenas, just all sorts of things. We've done house concerts, all sorts of stuff.
TV studios?
All sorts of things.
Obviously, you have a ton of different genres mixed in your performance. Are you guys picking up new ones, or do you usually stick to a pretty traditional set of influences?
Some of our original genres that we get inspired to, we actually don't do in our show.
Yeah.
We listen to like New Age and stuff like that, and big production. I mean, if you would think of like Celtic Woman or River Dance or Enya, things like that, those were sounds that we wrote in and we did at the very beginning, and we have yet to actually kind of fit them into the band and stuff like that. So people are like, whoa, now you do country, or whoa, now you do pop, and it's like, we've been doing that for a while. It's just a matter of, that we actually have approximately 20 album projects that we have like backed up, and some of them are in genres that we haven't really released music in yet, but we have that material.
From what I understand, you all have J names. Do your parents ever confuse your names? You guys ever confuse your names?
Yeah. It's really bad when they not only run through all of your siblings' names, but when they add in like the dog's name too, trying to get to your name, that's when it's really bad. But yeah, actually the J names it wasn't planned from the begining to have all J names. The first 4 just happened to be J's, and so they got down to the 5th kid.
If you were a boy, you were gonna be like Ezekiel or something.
I think Dad wanted to name all the boys all the prophets, and so Jeremiah was the first one that they picked, and then they just liked Jessica, Jenny, and Jeanette was named after my grandma. And so they got down to the 5th kid, they found out it was a boy, and they said, so are we going to stick with the J's, or are we going to do...
A man.
Or are they going to do J's? And so because it was the 5th kid, they thought it would be fun to name him Jackson 5. So.
But I do not sing like Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
I can dance, but I can't.
He tries to sing like Michael Jackson, but
Sounds like the Bee Gees.
Exactly.
Okay, so you all travel a lot together. When you get home, do you guys kind of go through a period of time where you don't really want to talk to each other and just kind of want to go off to your separate
No,
parts?
that's all on that.
Hey, tell you what, when like some people have trouble just getting along living in the same house, try packing into a tour bus.
Yeah.
It's like living on a submarine.
It is.
You cannot, if someone doesn't like you on the bus, your life is unbearable. So we are forced to get along with each other just by our proximity.
Yeah.
From what I understand, you guys are Christians. How do you balance your faith with fame and being on TV, music, and the industry in general?
Like I said, it comes into effect every day. We have to get along with each other.
Yeah. Well, the big thing is people will ask us about our ministry and how we go about that, and the TV show and our music we view as our ministry. And a lot of times people will say, "Well, why don't you guys put yourself as Christian artists and stuff?" Well, we did consider that, and we've talked about that a lot. But if you market
a lot of Christian
if you market yourself as a Christian band, though, you really limit yourself to only a Christian audience. And we really want to reach the non-Christian
Sometimes.
audience. Yeah, sometimes.
I mean, there's nothing wrong
Yeah.
with that. It's just
Right, but if you really want it to work as your ministry, we want to be able to reach the people who wouldn't go to a Christian show. And our latest album was called Heaven, and the title track, Heaven, is technically a love song, but the gist of the song is if you can find a love that seems so perfect here in this fallen world, it makes you wonder, what is heaven going to be like? And then we have the song City That I'm Looking For, and we do put the message in. It's a little bit more
Subtle.
Subtle, yeah. And then even just watching our show, I mean, we say that we're Christians, and but it's not like sticking it in people's faces and trying to beat them over the head with the Bible. We try to be subtle about it, but not ashamed of the gospel either.
we aren't exactly a subtle family though. So there's a lot of like just like who we are, like we're just standing there and it's like, oh, that's real subtle, there's 12 kids, like why? People immediately start asking questions. So it allows us some really cool opportunities to speak. And we do have projects that we'll probably do that are more, whether they be praise and worship projects or hymn projects or things, down the line. We just feel like sometimes there can be a reaction by people of faith that it can be a really scary world with fame, with TV. There's people in the dance industry, there's people in the hair and beauty and the makeup, and just that we don't have the same values and we don't live our lives the same way. And it's scary to be like, where do you draw the line? You're supposed to love everyone and not judge them, but we can, in a sense, be firm in what we believe how we should be living our lives. And so it's being a testimony to those people and not running away from scariness that's out there, because otherwise then you just leave it to them. If you withdraw from that circle and then we accuse the circle of kind of going south, it's because there's nobody in there being a light.
So along the line of making bigger family decisions, are you all fairly open with each other about talking about things you're going through?
Absolutely. Sometimes we talk to each other so much that it's like, okay, just talk to somebody else for a minute. No, we really do share a lot with each other, our struggles and what we're going through, but we try not to be a burden on each other and like, I'm going through this, and like pushing each other down, but really be iron that sharpens iron and build each other up. And if someone's having a hard time, giving them a helping hand and pulling them up to where you are, and so we do help each other, but instead of just like, we're not just like a whole just like pile of people complaining and wallowing in our self-pity. We try to help each other, yeah.
So on to decision like album names. How do you guys go about that?
Random chance.
You know what?
We just don't put the letters together and
Every single album that we've done so far has been in a different style, and so everyone has gotten a different type of name, and so I have no idea what the next one is going to be.
Well, we have some ideas.
We have a few ideas, but it's kind of like a democracy where when it comes to some of those big decisions, it's like, well, I don't know. What do you want to do? Well, I want to do this, and we all vote on it. So
We vote on it, and the nice thing is because we are a family, if we ever need that one extra defining vote,
Veto.
we can always go to Dad and be like, okay, we're split 50-50 here. What's your opinion? So Dad can be that.
I think we're going to welcome another family member to the stage. As you come on, can you introduce yourself?
I am Jasmine, and I am 14.
Oh,
Whatever her name.
squeaky chair.
Her middle name is, and I am 14.
And I am 14.
Who is the peacekeeper of the family?
A Jedi.
Oh, mom.
Jedi.
Mom and Dad are the peacekeepers, yeah.
Father and the mom, it's Jedi. which is hilarious because like
Jedi was never-
5 years ago, I mean even less than that,
I was
but
the
especially 5 years ago,
warmer.
if people were like, who is the biggest troublemaker? We would have been like,
Jedi.
so he's really grown up with that.
Do you think your parents have a golden child? Like the one that can do no wrong?
I think that's changing right now.
It switches. It depends on people's stages of life. There's
Different
always
phases.
Yeah. But you know, our parents, I mean, at this point, honestly, most of us, if you would ask us like secretly, so do you think you're your parents' favorite? We don't
We'd all
think,
say
yeah. I'm my parents' favorite. They do a great job. Yeah, they do a great job of making all of us feel loved and feel in their favors.
Along the lines of the troublemaker, who is the current troublemaker of the family?
Current troublemaker.
That's a tough question.
Well,
Depends on the day.
Well, it depends on the situation.
Yeah.
Jaeger, he's 6. He's a 6-year-old boy. You kind of expect him to do that.
Yeah.
Moments.
Jackson is he doesn't try to be a troublemaker, but he is very adventurous and he's a bit of a
Reckless.
daredevil. Yeah, he can be reckless sometimes. So he never tries to get into trouble. He just
It just finds
trouble finds him. Yeah.
boy syndrome.
Right. He's had a lot of injuries lately. So.
I assume you guys can't make it to church on tour. Is there anything you do as a family to maintain your faith while on tour?
Yeah, well, even when we're at home, the church that we go to is actually, it's a home church. So we meet with a bunch of other families in our area. We take turns. We don't have a building. We just meet in each other's homes. And we read scripture. We really try to study it.
Think of it more as a Bible study.
Yeah. And we do that while we're on the road just ourselves as well. So.
I heard that you all are homeschooled.
Yes.
Would you say that the curriculum is difficult?
Well,
Yes.
The curriculum is tailored to each individual child and their strengths and weaknesses, and that is one of the greatest strengths of homeschooling. It's something that my parents are, in my personal opinion, are pioneering way beyond anything that I've ever seen. I am the ADHD, or whatever the term is. I am the one that can't concentrate.
You were. Now
I was.
you concentrate too much.
I flip-flopped on that. You know, Jedi also has a very short attention span, but guess what? He's incredibly athletically gifted, and my parents went through each child and figured out what they wanted to do, what their strengths were, what their weaknesses were, and so they've tailored everything to each kid, and that's I am only beginning to appreciate
yeah,
it.
I mean, just if you don't mind me using Jedi as an example, Jedi, has a very short attention span, and as a young kid, I had trouble learning to read and just some basic stuff.
you
So
did.
I had to
You
find
and I did.
other things, but Jedi, particularly when he found, Mom's like, we got to find a subject that Jedi really enjoys that'll make him start reading. And lo and behold, neuron science is something that Jedi is huge into. And Mom was like, don't you want to if you have trouble reading, don't you want to pick something that's easier to read? He's like, no, I really like this. And now Jedi's reading all these books that I can't even read. I'm like, I don't know, what does that word mean?
Is it challenging to have your parents as your school teachers also? Or
Parents are teachers, whether they accept it or not. They are, and they're being a huge influence on their kids, and so they're definitely those lines never blurred because they were always one from the beginning.
Mom was a secondary education major. Dad graduated from Northwestern University, and so Mom kind of was the one who read stories to little kids, taught us to read, got us going with our basic mathematics, and then things kind of turned over more to Dad. And since we were around somewhere between 10 and 13, we started shifting more to a business model, actually, where we would meet once a week, and Dad would just say, here's the tasks, just get them done, and we would self-manage.
We would try.
Sometimes the curriculum, there really kind of is a lack of workbooks and a lack of specific curriculum.
And even when us older kids have graduated, it's still a work in progress, but we're turning around and we're trying to write the curriculums for the younger kids. So we're still working on those. You think you know something until you have to
Teach it.
and simplify it and completely understand it. But that's been a huge learning experience as well, as actually writing the curriculums. How would you want to learn this subject and then write it?
being on tour as much as you are and still having siblings in elementary school, do you guys feel like you have to be very disciplined on tour to keep up with school?
Well, you definitely have to. I mean, there's so much going on already that we have to be very disciplined with our time. And so, whether it's our academic education or the little kids' music education, or particularly dance is hard to do, and because you can do all of your academics and your music on the bus, but finding time and space to do your workouts and your dance education and stuff, that's harder on the road. But we try to find places here and there. Sometimes it's in an extra room in a hotel. Sometimes it's in a field, or in someone's yard or something. But we do try to find the time.
From what I hear, Jedi is the health nut of the group. Does he correct you guys a lot?
All the time.
Sometimes, he's not like the oh my gosh, you're
It's not a bossy. It's the
I make him feel
positive
bad.
peer-
I make him feel bad. You know that'll do to you.
Yeah, he just tells you whatever you're eating while you're eating. He's like, just that does this to your body, and you're just like,
To be honest, a lot of us are really healthy. Mom has very specific health requirements that she cannot eat stuff that's bad for her. It will very much affect her health. Various people for just for fitness, for skin health. I have to be really careful for singing. People, I mentioned we were talking earlier to the kids how dance is strenuous. Wrestling's obviously hugely physical and strenuous. The things you have to make sure when you're singing is like when you go to a theme park, like we're about to go, you can't scream on rides. Sounds dumb, but the first time you do it, and then you go, oh, my whole business depends on me being able to make noise with this thing right here. Can't scream, can't shout, can't talk loud late at night.
Also,
you should
especially,
sleep, hydrate yourself.
when you're traveling during, particularly the winter, when everybody's getting sick. Really having a healthy diet is a huge part, so that you don't get sick and lose your voice.
So, health is, it's not just, the reasons for being healthy are so important. So, various people, if they don't struggle with as much, they may cheat a lot more, but the people that
Everybody
really
cheats.
Not just how much, except for Jedi, he never cheats.
Well, Dad is definitely the one with the huge sweet tooth, and it just makes a man happy, so.
All right, now how is it that your parents start to instill the rules about keeping your voice in you? Like, not screaming at concerts, not screaming on
Oh
rides.
gosh, that was just something learned by trial and error. It was like, well, you have to put on a show, so I guess you learned your lesson. So that sort of thing.
How is it living in America when you feel so strong to your Irish roots?
It's really cool.
It's actually, it depends on a lot where you're from. The oldest 6 kids were born in downtown Chicago, and there is a humongous Irish community there. You could go,
hundreds of dance
hundreds
schools.
of dance schools. That's actually how we got into it. My parents saw the show Riverdance, and my dad said, "Oh, okay, all the boys are going to be wrestlers, but I want the girls to do something athletic." And he saw river dancing, Irish dancing, and said, "That's it." And so I got dragged into it as well. And
You did not get dragged in. No, the truth about Jer is Jer loved dance ever since he was really little, and he used to put on Jessica's tights, and he was a huge fan of Baryshnikov, and so he would watch the Nutcracker and dance around, and Dad was like, well, I guess if Jer's into dance too, let's put him in dance lessons too.
So anyway,
So he did not get dragged into it.
That's how I started traveling to Ireland first, is through dance competitions, then music competitions. In 2012, we represented the U.S. as in the senior band division and won that with some friends of ours, which was really cool. We said we're going to retire from competing at this point, and now we go over with fans.
Yeah, we've since been named Nashville's musical ambassadors to Ireland, because Nashville is sister cities with Belfast, Ireland, and so
And kind of like even a little after we started exploring that heritage, we found out that mom's very strongly Irish on her side of the family, and some of her grandparents, her grandfather was 100% Irish. So
We have living relatives in Ireland.
Yeah, we just
met them last time
last year.
It's so weird because they look so like you
They
can
look
see
so
some of the
much like
family
mom.
resemblance and everything. So it's really fun to explore those ties. And we now live in Nashville, and all of the country music and bluegrass music comes from like the British Isles, the Appalachian Mountains, and that was all born. A lot of those tunes and songs are the same or come from the same place, and you can just see all the relations and the correlations. We both bluegrass and Irish music love to sing songs where everyone dies, and it's like so sad and like so it's funny. Feel at home.
You guys spend a lot of time traveling. How do you think that has enriched you as people and as a family?
we have gotten to see
It's an education.
some amazing places. some examples are we've been to the Yosemite National Park, we've been to the Grand Canyon, we've gotten to go to Ireland many times. We've gotten to see Niagara Falls. Just talk about people put places on their bucket list that they want to go see without even trying. Just as a band, we just travel past all these really cool places, and so it's
We make time and
we make
stop off.
time on our tours to go see all the cool stuff that we're passing by.
And
it's
mom and
just-
dad have been very smart about using those opportunities as an education for our schooling. So instead of, sitting there reading about a certain kind of tree or something, hey, you're gonna encounter this tree in Yosemite, let's go check it out. It's a hands-on experience, and it's been
Climb the tree.
huge. You climb the tree. Yeah,
There we
don't just
go.
read a book about it, go climb it. So that's very much been kind of the model of learning that we've been able to do with what we do.
So your family has a reality TV show on TLC. How does that affect your life?
We still have laundry and dishes to do.
The biggest thing that it has changed is, our fan base has grown a lot from that, and a lot of people recognize us. We're, out in public, and that can be challenging sometimes. When you're just finished a workout and you have to go grab something from the store, and someone's like, "Oh my gosh, can I get a selfie with you?" And you're like, "Sure." But so that's probably the one thing that we have really seen change, is that when we go out, people really do recognize us now.
I do have to say one thing though about the TV show. Our music and our dance and the business side of what we do. We would do that whether or not we had a TV show. We don't do it because of the TV show.
That benefits greatly.
It does benefit us greatly, and we are so thankful that TLC works with us and we are able to, do the TV show.
Funniest thing is some of the places where people consistently recognize us, like Cracker Barrels.
Yeah, we go to a lot
I go
of
to Cracker Barrel and people are just like, oh, I know who you are. It's like, it's pretty cool in Nashville, though, because it's very different than LA and New York, where it's like there's like a mania that's accepted. In Nashville, it's like very much more, at least the native Nashville people, it's very like normal, and it's like.
You'll be at a theater and you'll have to climb over Keith Urban to get to your seat.
You don't
have to.
Nicole
You just
Kidman,
follow.
you do the same thing, but it's like, it's a good place to actually live and have a life instead of just like going and joining the rat race or the circus or something. So
Nashville is very laid back, and everybody's very considerate and respectful, and it's just the people there are amazing.
Do you ever find that you go into culture shock when you go to different places you haven't been to before and you're like, what is going
we
on?
usually induce culture shock.
Yeah. I mean, from growing up, being born in Chicago, like downtown Chicago, we were very much city kids, and then going
to the country. that was the
Nashville. Like
biggest
when we moved to Nashville, we lived about 45 minutes outside of Nashville, and
You had
And
to
it's
cross
like-
creeks to get some
Yeah,
of
it was like
No
in
bridges, you had a fourth
movies.
creek. We were like, what is this? A rock?
So that was a culture shock for us when we were little, but now because we've traveled so much, we really don't get a culture shock, going
But
to
we
new
do enjoy
places.
all the different
We
places.
do,
Like, still,
very
it's
much.
still
Yeah,
really
people are
amazing.
shocked when we show up.
We are a majority wherever we go. Literally, there's
Except for
14
today,
of us.
there was definitely more kids.
Well, there's 14 of us in the family, and so everywhere we go, we are us. And since we're a group, it's like, yes, we are us.
That's our motto. We are us.
At least it's not as bad. We tease my dad so bad because he has
So
two
good.
problems.
So
Sometimes he'll mix his metaphors. And they're so funny. It'll be like, we're gonna nail that right over the head. And we're like,
Let's nail it out of the park.
nail it out of the
No.
park. Or
Now I'm pulling a Toby here.
But he once said, we is what we is. We're all like,
Dad,
Dad, we is what we is?
the other
That does not make sense.
We is what we is.
we is grammar. Bad grammar, that's what we is.
You can't even say it.
No.
So, living the life that you do you think it has caused you to grow up faster?
In a good way, yes.
Yeah, in a
Definitely.
good way. We've been forced to see the world as it is, but then say we're gonna do something about it. We're not going to just we're not gonna turn our eyes away and be like, I'm gonna be a kid as long as I possibly can and have no responsibilities. No, we've been preparing for our future ever since we were like 5 and 6 years old, and we do think that if you work hard as a child and a young adult and a teenager and young adult, that you can set yourself up for a good life as an adult. And a lot of young people nowadays, they try to push their teenage years and their young adult years, try to make it as long as possible without having any major responsibility. And so at that point, they don't prepare for a future, and finally when they are forced to get a job, they haven't prepared for anything, and they're doing a job that they hate, and they just life sucks. Honestly,
I think it's a give and take, though. There's definitely some things that we have not experienced, and we are very sheltered about. We have our family around us. Take any kid that has not had parents in their life, or has been at boarding school, or has been at public. There's just you don't want that to come across wrong. There have been some things that we have done and responsibilities that we've taken on since we were really little. There's also been things that even now we don't have to deal with. And there's good things and there's bad things about that, but it's the only life that we know, and it's how we've grown up, and there's beautiful things about it. So
Well, that's about all the time we have today. Once again, thank you so much for performing for our school and taking the time to chat a little bit with us afterwards.